Tom.
Hey, Dana. It
How's it
is
going?
it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, looks like.
It is.
That is a
You know,
great
little
shirt.
Charlie.
I've never seen a shirt from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
They are not easy to come by, but I found it.
Good
So
job,
what's the scoop?
neighbor.
What's your day? I should feel like I should put on a sweater and change my shoes.
You should have walked into the shot all slow. Well, hello, neighbor.
Man, we come up with great ideas that we never execute. We're
Yeah,
awesome
it's
like that.
fine. Everything
Mhm.
is about spitballing and then not doing it. Just
Right.
like work.
Right. Don't worry, your boss isn't a subscriber. It'll be fine. So what's going on? What you been doing?
Not a whole heck of a lot. Well, I take it back. I kind of have been doing a whole heck of a lot. A lot of it revolving around toy shopping. Um,
Nice. I see you got a
the
giant turtle in the back. That's cool.
I do. You know what? I've had these things for a while, and they're also in the apartment, and I'm not quite sure why because I don't have anywhere to put them right now. So they've just been in that box of other random things that I've gotten.
Yeah.
So once again, the selection back there is just a whole bunch of randos from that that box. I don't know what to do with. They make for a fun display, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone's a fan of Giant Raphael, who wants to probably fight Giant Galactus because that's just how he is.
Might be a good fight. Yeah.
On
Did you get anything new?
I did. So you know the FYE in the mall?
I do.
They had these guys.
Shameless plug. Oh, no kidding. Those
They
are
actually
awesome.
had them to sell biker mice from Mars, and they were having a sale where it was buy one get one half off. So
I might have to go today.
yeah, so since there's three of them, right here, one of them took a tumble. So I got all three. They were the going to sell price of $39.99, but
Which isn't bad.
you,
Which isn't
yeah,
bad.
like you get the two, you get half off. So I got these three, and because I don't want to waste my half off on anything, I also finally picked up Morph
Oh,
from
nice. Yeah.
the VHS set, who I
Morph.
wanted for a while, but I just never got around to picking him up, and what a great excuse. Which so
Yeah, it's a good figure. I like it.
so so going to purchase them at the register, the guy's like, that's actually a really good combination of like the biker mice and Morph, and I was like, oh my lord, that's a whole show.
Yeah,
This would
that's all the
this would
show.
this could explain where he was for a good chunk of the original X-Men run after they freed him, and he just ran away, hanging
Right.
out with the biker mice from Mars. And that
I feel
makes
like
sense.
Marvel went a little crazy with the shapeshifters at one point. There were a lot of
There's
them.
there's a lot. There's a pretty decent number of them. Uh,
Yeah.
so also to keep the streak alive.
Ooh,
Now,
mystery time.
so I do have a box, but this is actually not. I actually know exactly what's in here, and I'm
And now I'm
very
going to
excited
suggest
about it.
the theme to Gravity Falls Mystery Shack when you're opening your boxes. Every week I come up with a different idea that we cannot do.
What you know what? One day I will sit and actually watch Gravity Falls because I've heard nothing but good things about it. My nephew really enjoys it. You've said good things about it, and I need to watch it. So
If you don't, I'm going to start reevaluating the nature of our association.
you would be fair to do that because I don't even have an excuse to not be watching it. So okay, these have a little bit of a story behind them that I hope is true.
Ooh.
So this is what was
Tom's
in.
story time.
This is what I
Oh,
got. So
that'll be.
I got a couple of or a trio of Battle Beasts. There's
Well, take him out
see
of the
I
baggie, man. Let's see him.
see I don't. Hopefully our viewers are familiar with the Japanese names, which is the ones that I memorize and know mostly. So got Platinum Tiger, who is careful with the joints. I'm always so nervous taking them out and then messing with the arms almost immediately.
Yeah.
Tiger, and then there's Battle Bear.
Battle Bear.
And
Yeah,
then
he was a Care Bear that grew up. That's why he still got the thingy on his chest.
Times were hard. Things were rough. And elephant.
I like the elephant.
He's great, and I always liked that he was just a little bit bigger than the other ones.
Yeah. Plus, now we can think we're drunk because we're seeing pink elephants, right? Remember that?
So the auction that I came across these on, so hold on, I want to make sure I get this right. So I either made a really great purchase that I hope that I won't regret, because who could regret buying Battle Beast? But hopefully the significance of these is not a terrible lie. So okay, so the product listing for this said,
This is
special
weird.
collection from Marcia Mole, a longtime toy product manager at Revell and Hasbro in the 1970s and 80s. Among these
Okay.
listed are mint box production items as well as some prototypes, blah, blah, blah. Special note, Marcia was the assistant production manager in charge of the Battle Beast line and flew to Japan to review the line and put together the product catalog and other promotional items. She brought this figure and other Battle Beast figures back from her visit to Japan. Now,
Oh, so these are the Japanese actual.
these, if the listing is correct and did not sell me a bag of goods, possibly these were used in the original Japanese photo shoot for Battle Beasts, possibly the promotional items, possibly the catalog stuff. So here's the rub, and there's always a rub. She can't positively verify it, but she believes that the figures listed here this week are from the photo shoot that was used to put together the sales catalog and other promo materials for the US market. So,
All right. So that's,
you know,
allegedly really cool.
Yeah, so this flies in the face of trust but verify. But I very much hope that this listing is correct. There was a lot of them listed, and some of the what led me to believe that this might actually be true and a correct listing is that some of the items or some of the Battle Beasts that were listed were variations that I had not seen very often.
Okay, all right. That's something.
Particularly the zebra, which was, you know, was it came out with the with like the stripe, and like the individual stripes weren't painted, but the mohawk was, and had a couple of decals. Those were completely white with no paint apps on them. So I was inclined to believe that probably, because if you're doing promotional stuff, you may not have, you know, like final final product stuff. So
these are you're like you got possessed there. You're like, you might not have final
beasts. So I either got some really cool promotional Battle Beasts that were used in the original Japanese photo shoot, or I got possessed items that are going to take over my voice for this episode.
I like the second one. I hope it's the second one.
I'm resigned to either.
That's fair enough.
Because there's never a bad reason to buy Battle Beasts. So this was I am going to set these up in their own separate thing, and hopefully these are actually correct, and no one will care about this except me when I'm gone, because my nephew certainly won't care when I leave them all of my plastic. And they're going to be like, well, these are all in one pack, so I guess we can sell them together.
There you go. At least you got something.
So how about you? Do you have any long-winded toy purchasing stories for us?
I don't, but I'll see if I can stretch it out for you. I picked up, and I don't want the whole collection of the Masterverse crossover with the Ninja Turtles, but you know I'm a sucker.
How dare you?
You know I'm a sucker. I know I'm a blasphemer. I'm a sucker for anyone dressed in samurai, even when it makes no sense at all. So I picked up the Skeletor.
Oh, he's a good one. It
is a good one. Now, granted, Skeletor has no reason to wear samurai armor.
None.
Because he clearly doesn't follow the Bushido code.
He doesn't understand what it is.
Samurai don't use Havoc Staff nunchucks. Like, this is just weird.
You don't like his cool. You don't like his grappling hook nunchucks?
No. I do like the green on him, but this would be 14 times cooler if they glowed in the dark. It looks like it should glow in the dark.
That was my immediate thought. That man, why it's so bright? Why doesn't it glow in the dark?
Now, under a black light, it would look cool.
He would look very cool.
I do have a black light. I should have brought it in here, didn't I?
Oh, you know what? Send some pictures. You could put them up on the Instagram, because we have Instagram now.
I will.
Which is 2G Talkin Toys.
Nice. But this color green immediately makes me want to do this. Like, I want to fasten these eyeballs on this door.
You know, it is a Ninja Turtle crossover that works perfectly fine.
Yeah. I do
Also,
like
it's
his cape.
Skeletor, so he's yeah. The sculpting on the cape is fantastic.
What are these little holes for? It looks like something goes on his back.
Oh, in case you want to plug a turtle shell on him.
Oh,
For reasons I don't fully, you know what, the upper armor might be reused from somebody, or
right, right. It
possibly
might be
being
like,
used for someone else.
because Man at Arms has the shell that sticks on. So,
Yeah.
but
So
but
you want to give him
I
a
can't
cool
pass up a
looking.
Skeletor, and I can't pass up Skeletor inexplicably dressed like a samurai. So there he is.
It's such a strange choice, because
It's a
yeah, like
Joel Schumacher film with all that green on it.
like he looks cool, but why in the world was he not? Everyone in this crossover, and I maintain this, everybody in this crossover should be a mutant. They should be some fusion of characters. So why is Skeletor not crossed with, I don't know, Scale Tail, and you get Skeletail, or like something like that? Everyone
Right.
should be some sort of animal mutant. They did it for Batman. It's good enough for Masters of the Universe.
Good enough for Batman. It's good enough for anyone, I say.
Oh, absolutely. Skeletor's not better than Batman. Who does he think he is?
Oh yeah, right. He just runs away. But speaking of Skeletor and running away, when we were kids playing with the Masters of the Universe figures, because Skeletor was mystical, he had magic powers
Mm-hmm.
and the Havoc staff. Um, we would always, He-Man would fight his way through or whomever, and then Skeletor at the end would just blast him with the Havoc staff. Like
Yeah.
we always loved the magic characters for that. That
Mm-hmm.
sort of, super versus supernatural was
Yeah.
always fun to play with, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about characters that were made into toys who have magical or supernatural powers.
Oh, fun stuff. Because those were always your range attack people.
Right.
They're like,
Yeah.
I can't let you get close. I can't let you get close.
Yeah. And it was always that sort of, super versus supernatural I love, because and He-Man and Skeletor are the perfect example of it. And there are
Mhm.
plenty of others. You and I the other day were speaking about the crimes committed against the Mandarin in the
Oh yeah.
MCU, and how
Yes.
the original storyline for Iron Man was essentially science versus magic,
Mhm.
and they ruined that. And then then it got into the armor wars, and it ended up Iron Man fighting himself.
Yeah.
Man versus nature, man versus whatever, man versus himself. It always ended up being Tony Stark versus himself in some way, either fighting the alcoholism or
Oh
fighting
yeah.
armor.
Man in a
But
bottle. Yep.
originally, it was science versus magic,
Yeah.
and the Mandarin was a phenomenal character for that. They blew it in the MCU, but there have been some good figures of the Mandarin. The Toy
I
Biz one, the first one was great.
Yeah, I remember the Toy Biz one. That came in a 2-pack, didn't it? It was a 2-pack for like
Yes.
him and Iron Man. He had the
Mhm.
like kind of the green robe with
Like,
the yellow highlights. He
yeah,
he did look really cool, and we are
it was one of the better
long
figures at the
long
time.
overdue. Yeah, it actually worked out pretty well, and you could any issues that they were having from, say, like the waist down could be covered by that cool looking cloak. Uh,
Yeah,
he's just so overdue
that could be said for
for.
all of us.
This is true.
Any
You gotta hide that. You gotta cover that up with a cloak, or smoking robe, or something
right, or
something like
kilt
that.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This guys have it right. So,
Mm.
I remember when that came out. I actually never got that figure because it came in a 2-pack, and at the time I was being a little bit more picky, and I was like, I can have Iron Man. I don't want Iron Man. What am I gonna do with him? So I wound up never
Mm.
getting that figure, but long overdue for a redo. Like, I'm a little surprised that in this
Absolutely.
last Iron Man wave we got, like Whiplash, and like the She-Hulk is great. Um, More Iron Man character, but
No Mandarin.
no
Why can't the
no
Mandarin get some
Mandarin.
real love?
It's a little strange. I mean, I guess the closest we got was a movie version of Kingsley, but I
Ah,
despise the way that the Mandarin, like you, I despise the way Mandarin was handled in the movie, and I don't want a figure of a guy pretending to be the Mandarin. So in the Shang-Chi line, the Mandarin
the
for
10
that,
rings was
yeah,
weird.
like the it's a faithful representation of the actor. It's just
Mhm.
not the kind of Mandarin that I want, and I really would love for Marvel to do that again. Uh,
Yeah,
I
let's do
don't
it.
I don't think that would be ill received. I think people would be on board for that.
Right.
But if you want a good stand-in, I imagine that Mythic Legions has a pretty good stand-in for you. You grab
You're right.
they
They've got a
they
lot of those type of characters.
yeah, and they recently started kind of really focusing on getting more magic style, you like more wizards. I know, like I think one of the latest waves has a lot of just full on magic wizard characters. There's a really cool effects set that you can get for both like quote unquote good and bad spells based on the colors that you get.
Mhm.
Those look really cool. I apologize for Mythic Legion people. I can't name any of the magic users. I can't recall
They've
any of
always
their
had
names,
weird
but
names. The
yeah,
magic users always have fun names.
but the most recent wave is kind of chock full of them, which is nice because you've got people who love to play around with different displays. They've always had characters that held staffs that could probably be used for magic or like the invocation of
Yeah.
magic using. But
The staff is important.
yeah, you need
It,
that both
it
for
is. And
walking and for casting spells.
you know what bothered me a lot? More so than it probably should have. Um, in Star Wars, when
Hmm.
you're originally introduced to the concept of the Force,
Hmm.
when Obi-Wan is in the Millennium Falcon talking to Luke when he's going to put the blast shield down and yada yada. It's something spiritual. It's something that combines everybody. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then when they explained it to be biological and that it's because of the midichlorian count in the Jedi,
Yeah,
I was like, ah, you
no one
ruined it.
needed
You
that.
ruined it. Yeah,
No
they
one needed
ruined it.
that.
I
But
liked it better when it was, sci-fi outer space stuff
mhm.
with magic, the lace that tied it all together.
I think
I
I would have
loved
been
that. And they
fine.
ruined it for me.
I think I would have been fine if they introduced something that made it detectable, but was not the full reason for it. They're not mutants. They essentially introduced mutants into Star Wars.
Right.
If you
Yes,
were
you're right.
born
You're
with
right.
you're born with the midichlorian gene, you're probably going to either save the Republic or doom it. One
Right.
of those
Right.
two. But I agree. I like the idea that the Jedi and the Sith were essentially just flying space wizards.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that way,
Fantastic.
everyone that you had, pretty much everyone you had in your collection, like the idea that Darth Vader hangs out in that same pool of energy as Gandalf is
Right.
interesting to
Isn't that
me.
cool?
So,
Gandalf is an awesome character again with the cool staff, and Yoda had a staff
and
disguised as a cane,
and
but it was so cool.
and funny enough, when Gandalf died and he came back as Gandalf the White, there
Right.
is a story where Vader comes back
Vader
in the
comes back
white
as white.
armor.
Yeah, the redemption
I
Vader. I've got a
want to
great
see.
action figure from that. It's fantastic.
That
I
is a
love
really
that
cool looking
storyline as
figure.
well.
And I'm glad I like that it had an actual story behind it. It wasn't just thrown out there like the Boba Fett prototype, where it was
Right.
just
Right.
it was cleansed of color because it was just a starting, which is fine. But it's really cool that the idea that Vader had a redemption arc.
Mhm.
When Magneto, who is not a space wizard, is an actual mutant, had
Right.
his whole redemption arc, and he switched to the white
To the
armor.
white. So that's it.
Really
When we go to
cool.
lunch tomorrow, Tom, we just have to wear white, and then
Now,
we'll be good
well,
people.
well, we couldn't do that in Japan because I actually kind of like the flip side of that. That in Japan, a lot of times, demonic devil characters, like say in Car Robots, there's a character named Gigatron, who was this really cool, really funny looking six changing robot. And when he was first defeated and then rose up as a more demonic version of himself, it was called Devil Gigatron. His whole color scheme
That's a
changed to
lot.
white and gold
Nice.
to symbolize more evil. So it's kind of I like the dichotomy of that.
Right. And speaking of devils and demons and whatnot, I did like the idea of when Spawn was introduced,
Mhm.
that it was all magic. Everything about him is magic, but it's a different kind of magic because it's purely evil or purely holy magic. First time you see Malbosia, and the fact
Mhm.
like you're introduced to this demonic evil energy magic fat little clown. It's just the most horrifying thing in the world.
Did you
um
have the original Spawn toys?
yes, we had them. And they introduced a whole different aspect of play, and my older brother Derek, who has always been into Dungeons and Dragons and
Mhm.
that kind of dark magic interest.
Yeah.
He really got into Spawn to begin with
Mhm.
because of that. It was just such a different take on things
Yeah, it was
than
cool.
we had seen before.
It was cool to see, and yeah, you got to give McFarlane a lot of credit. despite the widely swinging opinions I hold on some of his stuff and his decisions, the introduction of Spawn into the toy world really did, kind of
Right.
was it an impact.
It changed the
The
scale. It was designed
Yeah,
for adults. Like, it was a
yeah,
whole different
the
ballgame after Spawn came out.
the detailing, and keeping with a lot of the things that made toys. Like there were action features. Like Redeemer had the cool like light up action feature,
Right.
but also had the really cool cape. Um, Malboja was kind of an amazing figure when it came out. One, because it just cost us, didn't it cost the same
It
as the other
cost the same, and it
figures?
was packaged.
And he
It
was
like folded
gigantic.
up, and then
Yeah, he was crammed into that one single card, and you got him out, and you could stretch him out, and he was massive, which was really cool. I actually didn't get him. I got the second version of him that comes with the
Mhm.
staff that had the marble
Right,
on it.
right, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was pretty cool.
It
And
was, it
also
was
came with combable hair, which I thought was
right.
hilarious.
Yeah, it stood up. He looked like Doc from Back to the Future. But we had
Spawn,
it in
we have a problem.
1.2 chicken wants. We had a cool introduction to that because Dale was using Metlar
Mhm.
as as an entity of the devil. You know what I mean? That would be summoned by Jake the Snake. And
Uh,
then suddenly we had Malbolgia and these others. Like, we were like, oh man, now we're just being overrun by demons. So it made play a different thing, because
mhm.
Superman then was no longer as super, because he could
Oh yeah,
be
that's
knocked
right.
out by these guys. Yeah,
They got tired of Super Age Superman being completely unbeatable. Like what?
right.
He's got to have some kind of something besides kryptonite, which I think Silver Age Superman could also overcome and just eat. Uh,
Right. He just spread it like
yeah,
jam.
yeah,
But
we had to give him something that worked
right,
against him, which worked. It made sense. You don't want
right.
an invincible character because that's no fun.
But that was the introduction to magic in our play,
Mhm.
because, or at least our storylines, because, we had DC and Marvel, but, other than like Doctor Strange, we didn't have a lot of, DC didn't have a lot of magic figures at the time. Like, we didn't have any really good Doctor
Oh yeah,
Fate. We
Doctor.
didn't have Zatanna.
Yeah.
We didn't, you know,
Oh, it's a quick question about Zatanna. Do do you have, because I know she's been released kind of a number, she's got a decent number of figures over the
yeah,
years.
she
Do
has
you
some of them
have a
great, some of them not so great.
do you have a favorite? Because it's one of the few characters that I think DC Direct didn't do the best job with.
No, they didn't do a great job. You know why? Because they tend to in that time period when she became a popular character, they tend to over sexualize their characters. So DC Direct kind of went that route with her, and she's
Mhm.
got the fishnets and the thing and the,
It was almost like
but
they didn't quite know what to do with her because she still had the jacket, and they changed her costume a few
right.
times, and it's difficult to make a character like that stuck in one of those traditional 90s style poses.
Correct.
But you know what?
Uh
DC Universe, I feel like they
they
didn't do
did
the
one,
best
and it
job
was
either.
it
It
wasn't a
was
great figure. I think the DC
it
Unlimited figure, the Justice League Unlimited figure, is my favorite.
Yes, I completely agree. Because the DC Universe figure, it almost looks like, I guess the best way to put it would be, it's like,
Lifeless.
well, it's like they chose the wrong actress to play this character,
Hmm.
and they just dressed her up like her, and you're like,
Right. Clearly, it
it's
should be
not a good.
Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. But I agree that the unlimited version looked really good, and the later Batman animated line that they did
Yeah.
uh, also is probably the best version of her.
Yeah, it doesn't stand up well, but it looks good. Um, back to some of the cool, like the wizards are cool because they look so frail. When you think about like
Mhm.
the Dungeons and Dragons guys, and even
Yeah.
Gandalf, you don't expect him to be
Uh-huh.
like the most powerful dude in the journey when you
Mhm.
first picture Gandalf. But they had Dungeons and Dragons had those cool wizards with a big beard and ball head, but they had these robes
Mhm.
that were white. The good guy was white. That was
Mhm.
Ringlerun.
Uh-huh.
And then the bad guy wizard, I think his name was Kalek or something like that. He had a black one, but they
Mhm.
were well done, and they were sewn through with they had glitter, like glittery
Oh, that's
string,
cool.
and they had, yeah, they were just so well. So they had this great, and they had the ball shoulder joints, and they had those great robes that went all the way down to the wrists.
I
And
wonder
then
if
if
I
you
wonder
took
if
those
Mecha's
off,
gonna.
they were wearing like like 1920s swimsuits. They like it was like they would look
had
like homeless people, which is what we made. It was
they,
funny. When we played GI Joe as young, Dale had Colonel Potter
Mhm.
as, he was Colonel Potter, but he was really old at that point because he
uh,
was a colonel during the Korean War, right? So he was really old, and then his father was the Ring Run figure. Weird, but
it's like in my
remember
day we used real magic.
they were cool, and then when the Crystar figures came out, they
What?
had. Go ahead.
I wonder if NECA is going to tackle those figures in a later release,
I
because
hope they do.
they've been going through one by one with the Dungeons and Dragons characters.
Yeah, I really hope they do because they're just great representations of that classic wizard look. And then
And
you had yeah, they were
going
great.
back going back to what you said about them looking frail, because you're right. Most of them are, they just look like they belong in like a 1920s cartoon,
Mhm.
except for Eldor from the Preternia line, who is just this
Yes.
buff old dude.
Yeah,
But
he was pretty ripped.
he had the well, I imagine it came from doing reps with that giant book that he was always walking around with.
Yeah, he's like, let me get to this chapter.
Yeah, just shredded, and he has to be played by J.K. Rowling's. He has to be the one to play him.
Wait,
Where the
who?
Oh, I'm sorry, J.K. Simmons.
I was like,
We're,
no, that's the person who
we're,
wrote Harry
we're getting
Potter.
yeah,
She
that's
says,
that she's a jerk. She doesn't get roles. Yeah, cast him as
yeah,
Eldor in the upcoming He-Man movie that is
yeah,
supposedly being made.
yeah. Yeah, I keep hearing things about it, but I don't believe any of them yet.
I won't believe it till I see it.
Um,
And Triple H is so upset because he's too old to play him.
and he's horrible.
Yes.
Um, but the Crystar wizards, they had one who looked like a classic wizard, the good guy, Geode, like a
Mhm.
geode, Geode. Um, he had that classic kind of wizard look with the robe, but Zardeth, I think, was the bad guy wizard, and he had a different look. He had almost
Mhm.
like a helmet with a
Huh.
patch. It was black. He had a flat, like black helmet head with a red. It was a striking red robe that he
Mhm.
had underneath. And those guys were weird because they came with like a complete set. You remember the Crystar guys would come with a little like fireplace and like they came with a complete set, almost like a play set with them. And
Huh.
they had the staffs that were cool, but they had these really long nose picker pointy fingers. Their hands were like this, but the finger was
I
really long and creepy.
I don't remember those. Yeah,
Uh,
that does sound kind of creepy.
yeah, but the greatest thing was like you'd have Kristar and Moltar and Magma Man running around hitting each other with clubs and swords
Mhm.
and like you said, these guys were just skinny little guys with these weird like eye fingers and then they would just, I'm a wizard,
But
blow everybody back. And, it was sort of like how you ended the battle with when you couldn't decide who wanted to win, the wizard would just kind of end the battle.
and at the time, because we didn't have effect parts at the time, you would just that was your imagination. You're like, well, an explosion happens, and
Right.
this is what happens because of it.
And you
Um,
go, and you just knock everybody over.
they needed to make. I guess this gets into they need to make more Hanna-Barbera characters. I
Oh,
want some of
yes.
the wizards from Thundar.
Yes. I love the way he would say
'Cause
wizard, like with
just
such contempt. He hated
so
any, except for Ariel, who was a sorceress, but
she's like here one of the good ones.
right.
And she's like,
There's a
that's
difference
not
between
better,
being
Thundar.
a sorceress than being a wizard. Takes my sword, wizard.
Was there was there a sorceress in the Dungeons and Dragons line? I mean, I know there were magic users in like the movie and in the cartoon, but was there? I remember
Yeah.
seeing one from like the original toy line, but I don't remember what her name was.
I mean, the cleric. They had a cleric who was a female in
Mhm.
the original toy line. I don't know about later on. They may have, but I
Oh,
can't recall.
okay.
Like none of those outstanding like evil Lynn characters. But
Yeah. Oh, well, it's good that you mentioned Evil Lynn, because I completely forgot about her. I apologize.
so
The
you apologizing to me or evil Lynn?
A little bit of both. A little
Don't
bit of
make
both,
her
because
angry. You never
I
know what
really
evil Lynn you're gonna get.
I really enjoy Evil Lynn, and the I couldn't figure out if the original toy had like if she just needed some extra nutrients, because I was like, why is her skin yellow? Why did she have jaundice? I don't
Right.
understand. She was very cool. I always loved her design. And it was one of those things where
The
the color
Masterverse version is fantastic.
Yes, the Masterverse version is excellent, and I always love that they. Yeah, there's so much parts reuse, and she is just kind of like a swap of Tila, but they were colored so differently, and their characters in the show were so opposed. It almost you almost didn't notice that these people are sharing the same, the almost the
Right.
exact same figure. Um, I always wanted a decent. I feel like we're due for a new toy. Do you remember Madame Raz from
Oh yeah.
Powers of Eternia? I'm not Powers of Eternia. Princess of Power. Um,
Mhm.
I always I was always amused by her. Anyway, that was her point. She was there for comedy relief.
Right,
But I
and
always
that
liked.
some magic users end up that way, like
Mhm,
Orko,
yeah.
the wizard in the Conan movies,
Mhm. Have
her like
Have you seen?
Presto from the animated Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. Have you seen the Mondo release of Orko?
I have.
Now, I completely forgot that Orko had a face, like an actual face that you saw. Uh,
Mhm.
I kind of wish he didn't. I don't even know. The,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
the feet also kind of freaked me out. That he is, in fact, just a little tiny gnome that is hovering around,
right.
causing issues
I
and
think
being
that's
stupid.
awesome.
That is rough.
But that is a trope for magic users, and I'm glad you brought
Mhm.
that up. Like they are the comic relief.
Yeah,
Although the wizard from Conan did get to go, those were the times of high adventure.
Scarlet Witch. I apologize.
Oh,
I was
yes.
because I was thinking about when we were
You were
talking about the
thinking about
Mandarin,
Hester Prynne,
and
right?
going from like the original version of the Mandarin to what was done in the movie, and then like what he became a little bit down the line for the Shang-Chi series. Scarlet Witch has been fairly consistent. Like there have been some changes to it, like they can't say she's a mutant, whatever, but visually I feel like she might be one of the characters that has been handled the best, both in toy line and on the screen. She's one of the few characters where I have all the versions of Scarlet Witch that have come out, because she just looks really cool. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's due to the character just being super cool, because I love the comic look of her, and I love the movie version. So I don't know if that speaks to maybe just the movie doing a really good job of translating that character to screen, where the line between comic and movie version has almost been blurred.
Yeah,
But
they did a really
I
good job with
own
that.
I own all of them, and she looks great, like the sculpting on them, because the movie figures are in and of themselves well done. Like they look like the characters are supposed to look like. But I can take her and just stick her right next to a comic Magneto, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, they did a really good job with that. Now her magic, now correct me if I'm wrong. The her magic has changed, like her powers. Like
Yeah,
wasn't
there's
she originally able to just reestablish reality and such? She would change the likelihood or of something
yeah,
happening, right?
there was a lot of retconning while they figured out what was going on with her. Originally, it was like generic magic. Okay, she's Scarlet Witch, generic magic, so she can make things move and whatever. And then it became, well, she affects probability so that things will go in
Right,
our favor. And then it became, no, Xavier did all the mind voodoo on her because she can actually change reality. So when things are like, he reduced it down to affecting probability, but what she's doing is
right.
making small shifts in the fabric of reality. And then she went crazy and eliminated all the
All
unnecessary
the
mutants that every single writer inserted into every story
it
every
was
time they
such a
came on.
it was such a great way to drain the swamp there and get rid of all that. You know what I mean?
It's
There was a
it's
great,
it's unfortunate that that turned her into a martyr because they all hate her now. But
yeah,
I liked that story. I know a lot of people were not happy with it, but I
I
loved
did
it.
enjoy it.
It gave us a lot of it gave us a lot of it gave us a good storyline afterwards. It gave us hope, no pun intended, because that's her actual name.
Right.
Whom, by the way, long overdue for a new toy as well.
Absolutely. I often thought that they made the probability thing just because she was a mutant. And then
Hmm.
like you were just saying, like the other powers made her more magical
Yeah.
and not a mutant. So then when you have like Domino also has something
Hmm.
similar to that, right? That she has this
Yeah.
mutant ability to just play the odds in her favor.
Hmm.
Um, I think that was the idea that, oh, we've made her too magic based and she's no longer a mutant.
Hmm. But then they leaned into it because now she's
Yeah.
just full on magic everything, which yeah, again, which is fine. Like I'm on board for it. Um,
You know, there are those toy lines that never had any magic introduced, and you wish they would have, like GI Joe.
Yeah,
Like
that's true. There,
they
I
never had
can't think.
any
Well, I
magic.
mean,
Even the,
does Cobra Law count, or is that?
well, they were biological. Like everything was biological,
Yeah.
so it wasn't magical. I mean, it was definitely fanciful, but it wasn't magical.
Yeah, we never got that in Cops. I mean,
No,
maybe that's for the better. I mean, I don't think Bulletproof needed to deal with misdemeanor and a wizard. It's like, oh, you serious right now?
and Buttons McBoom Boom, which is the best name for a villain ever. Yeah, so they never, but even that, you know, I liked when they introduced in the Ninja Turtles animated movie when they
Mhm.
introduced those elementals,
Oh yeah,
and
that
they
was
had
really
to,
cool.
and it took them a while to figure out how to
Mhm.
fight something magical. So that was
Yeah,
really cool. I enjoyed that because up until then there really wasn't any magic in the Ninja Turtles universe.
it would be cool to see them maybe like pull from the 2000 series, because that got like, and then the second half of the series when they started going into like the Nexus tournament and whatnot, that got
Yes, yes.
crazy with magic stuff. So
Yeah.
we're down to the wire.
Really? Wow.
I
Okay.
mean, yeah, not bad. So let me toss out a question.
Oh no.
What magic user would you like to see made into an action figure?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Hmm.
Well, you got 45 seconds to
I
answer.
know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
All right, we'll come back. We'll start the next episode with your answer to this.
Oh,
My
oh God, I don't have an answer.
my selection would be Magic Man from the Mega Man series.
I
Get
just
on
gonna
it,
say
Jada
Magic
Toys.
Mike.
I want a whole Magic Mike series. You use nothing but Steve Austin action figures as your base for absolute silliness. So that'll do it for another episode. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy what you are hearing, please leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, get a hold of us on Twitter. Our handle is 2 Guys Talking Toys. That's the number 2, no G after the talking. Same for our Gmail. Look us up on Instagram, which is just 2G Talking Toys. Take care, everybody.
The wizard from Krull. I want Krull figures.
Krull
and the
Wizard!
from Krun. Yes. And the little beagle.
Nailed it.